I think it's working. Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Hello. I'm going to adjust the lighting, the rather poor quality lighting. I've got this light here, which is supposed to be for people who do makeup. And
yeah, I got one too.
It's great. It's like you can spend like a ton of money on the dead posh one with all the fadey dials, or you can spend 30 quid and get that, which makes you look slightly pasty, but it's cheap.
Mine is yellow, so I can change it to yellow.
And white. I've got a dial. I've got a dial to make it go either yellow or
exactly.
Hello, everybody. It's the WP Builds weekly WordPress news. This is all a bit cobbled together this week because I'm trying to be the homeschooly dad type person, and in all honesty, I'm failing miserably at it. So we'll see how we go. But we're joined by 3 guests as usual. On the what is that? That's the right-hand side of your screen. We've got WP feedback, and on the other side, you've got the rest of the world. So we'll go round in order, and we'll go this way first. So we've got Jan Koch. How are you doing, Jan? Tell us a bit about you and where you're from and so on.
Hey, doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm a WordPress developer and CTO at WP Feedback from Germany.
I like it. Thank you. Nice, short and pithy. Now here comes Paul Lacey. He's there. Who knows what treat he's got in store for us this week? But always a good elevator pitch from Paul. On your marks, get set, go.
Okay, so I am Assistant Regional Manager for the WP Builds Weekly News Live podcast. Also, I'm the co-founder of the Dicky Bird Studio, which is a WordPress agency in the UK. And I'm also, should just keep saying new other things, also brand ambassador for RunCloud.
Yay, thank you very much. Thanks, Paul. And got it right down there. There we go, wobbly finger, is Vito. How you doing, Vito?
Yeah, good. I'm Vito. I'm the founder of WP Feedback, and we help WordPress professionals fix communication problems.
Oh, you've all got it like really short and sweet. This is so nice. Just out of interest, you two, that is to say the WP feedback. Yeah, exactly. That side of things. How are you managing the business now that you're all, because obviously Jan's over there and he would probably not meet with Vito all that often anyway, because he's in Germany, you're in the UK, but with all the other employees and whatnot, how's it going? What's been your strategy? Are you on Zoom or something else?
We started on Zoom, but we've been distributed the company before this happened. Were some of us here in London, so we just went home, and the rest were already in different countries anyway, so it didn't make much difference there. But in the past, Zoom was our solution. In the past couple of days, we've been using our networking area, our new networking area, as the way to meet, so we can test it out while we're doing that as well.
On the summit pages, that is.
Well, we'll definitely get into that. I don't know if anybody's added that in as a bit of an item, but we'll make sure to talk about that at some point later. But Zoom to me has become the noun for is it a verb? Is it a noun? It's a verb. The sort of thing that you do, to Zoom is now the word for conference call. It seems to have taken over the sort of general use. I noticed it's dropped increasingly often on the BBC website. So they say, a Zoom call instead of some sort of online conference. And I don't know how Zoom's doing after their Zoom bombing incident, but I've noticed the UI's changed quite a lot. So the security has now got a little separate security tab. And in my case, have to let people into meetings if I wish to. I think I've configured it in such a way so that actually happens. But
I think they made it mandatory now because they had some people joining calls they weren't expected to join. Let's phrase it.
Yeah. We had a lot of that problem.
Some really bad stuff happening.
So were people just guessing the IDs of calls?
Yeah. Well, if you posted it anywhere online, like I've got a permanent Zoom ID, but I'd never shared it online. I'd shared it in private Slack channels, but that's a coincidence. I could have easily done. So it was easy to just sort of scrape those, send out a bot, scrape them, and then you could just use them randomly. But I've switched my personal ID off now. I think I've still got it, but it automatically starts with a fresh ID each time now. So I think that's the way to go. Right, let's see. We've got a few people. George, hi there, George, joining us on YouTube. We've got, I can't provide you, whoever you are, Facebook user. You need to go to streamyard.com/Facebook, I believe is the link if you wish to post comments, because StreamYard has to be authorized by you via Facebook, something like that. Hi there, Heinrich, in your bunker in Ireland. And Jan has posted a link to his, but like, I'll give you 4 seconds to quickly memorize that link because you can't copy and paste it off the video and it's gone. So you'll have to pause the replay of the video if you want to see that. Hi there, Beth. Nice to see you again, all the way from the USA. And who else have we got? We've got Paul Lander. Hi there, Paul. Lacey again.
Hey,
Lacey's on every week, Paul. He's just like totally every single.
Me and Paul Lander went to university together on the same course.
Did you?
Yeah,
Did you
we
really?
got in trouble once for copying each other's work in the electronics module, and we did copy each other, and we both made exactly the same stupid mistake and put the LEDs upside down on the wrong part, and then they called us both into an office, and we're like, right, we got this and we got this. We just had to. And they didn't actually ask us to deny, or they said, obviously you're going to deny it. We can't prove it, but try and be a bit more original next time.
That's so good.
So I've known Paul Lander, who I used to call Lockie. That used to be his nickname actually, for over 20 years.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah. Paul Lander was on the WP and Up the Press Board podcast. That was really nice. Yeah, I remember he had a really nice opening start. I come from Wolverhampton, sunny Wolverhampton, the centre of the universe or something. He said, I can't do the Midlands accent. I do apologise, Paul. That was hopeless. Hello, says Chris. Hi there, Chris. Matt Davis. Good afternoon, friends. Tough decision. Who has the best T-shirt today? Well, now there's a thing. Okay, let's go. Hold them up. Yeah, hold them up. Right, you get to vote now. Yeah. Quickly make a decision. Who's got the best T-shirt? Checking in, see if Nathan's Hair has been given its own identity and registered to vote yet. No, I should register nathanshair.com though, and get literally zero traffic, which would be remarkable. Hang on a minute. How has this descended into a conversation about my hair? Good morning from the USA. Hi there. Listening to you guys, I'm developing a website. That's what we like to hear. That's lovely. Jan absolutely wins the award for the most different locations he appears live from. Not sure if I've seen him broadcast twice from the same place.
I only have just one home office, though. I just adapt the lighting every now and then and move the camera around a little bit.
Yeah. My pastor talked about a new thing called Zoom fatigue. Man alive. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's something to be said for that. I think you could get bored of doing Zoom calls if it wasn't your normal way of doing things. Yeah, interesting. From Cyprus. Yeah, thank you. Oh. Good
no,
grief.
I did not, and you know it, Paul Lander. You know what happened.
Only Paul. The problem is you're both called Paul. Only Paul knows the truth.
I know. They probably marked them in alphabetical order as well.
Look at this rebuttal. Look at this rebuttal he's just sent through. Yeah, look at that.
Speechless.
Totally speechless.
Yeah.
Andrew Palmer says, I'm watching a rerun. Oh, interesting. I don't know how he's doing that, but happy to join. Please, whoever you are, go to streamyard.com/Facebook and authorize us to know who you are. I'm going to have to... what? Veto? For the teacher?
Right, yeah. No. You there. They get the credit and WordCamp London last year.
Oh, that's nice. That's really good. Anyway, enough of the opening comment. That's really nice, though. Thank you, everybody, for making all those comments. It brightens our day. I should probably just say, got to turn that one off first. Got to just say these sort of quick things. So this is the WordPress news for the week commencing, a week ago, basically, 13th of April. That's probably the first time in about a month that I've managed to get the date right. So I'm feeling fairly proud of myself. I actually changed the number in that before we started. And if you are watching this, you're probably watching it in either of those locations, wpbuilds.com/live or wpbuilds.com/Facebook. Well, if you're somehow watching it elsewhere, you need to go to one of those places if you wish to make a comment. Right. Very quickly then. Oh, crikey, add that to the stream. So this is what we're doing. It's the wpbuilds.com website. We have a sort of, we put out quite a lot of WordPress content, let's be honest. We have a podcast which we put out every week. This is the latest episode with Jason Resnick. It was really nice chatting to him about word of mouth marketing. By the way, if you haven't listened to that one, it's actually really good. He comes up with lots of good stuff which kind of speaks to me. I'd love to have a world where there was no automation. I don't mean that seriously, but I do like the personal touch, and Jason's got a whole episode all about that. If you go to wpbuilds.com/subscribe, this link here, you can sign up to one of 2 newsletters, which keep you in touch with all that we do. This archive link here is what we're on about today. This is the news archive link, and we're always on about the top left one, which has got a hedgehog on it today. And this is the actual episode. If you don't want to watch us live and you want to listen, you can click that button. It's half an hour of me droning on and on about WordPress. But basically, we're going to tackle the same sort of subjects. Anybody want to say anything before we begin about the sort of like the times that we're in? Over the last couple of weeks, we spent quite a few minutes at the beginning talking about what's happened during the last week, because it's a bit different, COVID-19 and so on and so forth. But Jan, Paul, Vito, anything interesting occurred to you this week?
I think that nothing interesting occurred this week.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. In that case, turn that head on itself. Did anybody have anything uninteresting happen to them this week? It's just a week of uninteresting. I don't know.
I found myself, because we don't have a garden, so we're literally stuck inside. So I found myself going out to the bins, to throw out the trash. And just like putting my hands on the bin and soaking in the fresh air, realizing that I
love it.
I actually did a trip to the supermarket this week, and I actually found it remarkably cool. We're very lucky in that the drive to the supermarket where we are, I have to drive through the national park, so it's about 10 miles of beautiful countryside. So that was really nice. I deliberately kept the speed really slow to sort of prolong that whole experience. And there was no traffic. That was the strangest thing. There was normally that road's got quite, a bit of traffic on it. Not a single car in 10 miles. And then I got to the supermarket, and there was nobody there. There was me and a handful of other people, maybe 5 or 6 other people in the entire supermarket. So that was a really nice experience. I was expecting it to be full of anxiousness and tension, and it really wasn't. It was very calming. But yeah, okay, great. Right, let's put this screen back on. So this is the current post. This is the one that we're going to be dealing with this week. Please, guys, just feel free to interrupt and say whatever it is that you want to do. Let me just reshape that, because that's not really filling up the screen. That looks a bit better. The first one that we got for you this week is this one on WP Tavern. It's Justin Tadlock going on about Gutenberg 7.9, adding gradients to more blocks, extra typography controls and new patterns. I don't know if any of you guys actually make the effort to install the latest version of Gutenberg, or just wait for it to kind of roll around in WordPress core, but there is really rather a lot happening. Gradients you can basically add to everything now, and although showing off a brown gradient to me is it's not the best way to show it. Very muddy looking thing, but you can now add gradients to a whole suite of things, so that's quite nice. You've got typography for headings and paragraphs, so instead of having to select all sorts of awkward selectors, you can now do things natively. There's 3 new blocks. These are weird. You've got these blocks where you can sort of essentially throw in a block and a collection of different configurations come. It's laying the groundwork, but the ones that they chose was quite interesting. 2 columns, numbered features, and it's time. I can kind of get the purpose of this one where you've got a numbered thing next to some text, but this one is just priceless. It's called the it's time what are they called? I've forgotten. Block pattern, and it outputs a paragraph, 2 columns, and a large paragraph that reads it's time.
What?
Yeah, exactly. It's just really quirky. I don't know. Presumably you can change the text and all that, but it's kind of quirky. But there we go. Nobody's played with that, I don't suppose, but Justin keeping track of it for us, which is really nice. If you want to hop in, do so now. Otherwise, I'm going to, move on. Okay, in which case I will move on. 3 things under the community section. We always put stuff into different categories. First one is this one, the road ahead, which again is on WP Tavern. And this is all about what Justin reckons is going to be coming in the next, well, what have we got now, 8 months or so. And if you didn't have a chance to read this, I would say this is the one thing to read this week. This is like, if anybody knows what's coming in WordPress, Justin at this point, I would say is pretty much the man, apart from people like Josepha Hayden and Matt Mullenweg. He really keeps his ears to the ground on all this kind of stuff. And this one is quite nice. Automatic updates for everything, like everything. So not just like incremental updates to core, but point releases of core. The whole thing is going to update itself. Plugins, themes. Carry on.
I'm not sure if I like that, to be honest. For all the production sites I've managed so far, I would turn this off immediately.
Sure.
Yep.
And then there is one approach that Oliver Sill from WebArcs shared with me that I think they are adding to their tool, which is allowing automatic updates only if it's a security relevant update.
It's already in WebArcs. If you just tick the box, vulnerable plugin updates, I think it's called.
Yeah. So that's the only reason for me to leave automatic updates enabled.
Yeah, I totally get it. It's interesting. He makes that point, right, that how scary that is. But he also makes the point that wouldn't it be interesting if, 18 months down the line, plugin developers, let's say plugin developers who are invested in continuing to have their plugin updated and continuing to make recurring revenue, if the model is that the default on many WordPress sites is it's going to update automatically, you would really get ahead of it, wouldn't you? You'd make damn sure that when 5.9, 6.0, 6.1, 6.2 came around, you had tested that to within an inch of its life. So the point being, rather than having this cautious approach, hopefully it would force all the developers, plugins, themes, blocks, whatever, to really take it much more seriously. So that
I'm not sure it would. I don't think that's what Justin is saying there, isn't it? That plugin and theme developers will need to adopt a development strategy. That basically says that they need to somehow join their minds up with all the other hundreds of thousands of plugin creators out there and be some kind of Borg type hive mind. And just know that
Neuralink, what Elon Musk is working on.
Well, maybe if that comes first, this will be possible. And then, but I can't see that. I just agree with Jan that other solutions like WebArcs and and other tools that you use to manage your plugins are already ahead of that game and have already thought about the possibilities. And that statement of plugin and theme developers will need to adopt development strategy is slightly optimistic. I don't know.
Yeah. I use main WP to update my sites, and there's an option in there to put things into kind of trusted status, and the trusted basically means we'll update it without you doing anything. I've put nothing in trusted status. I mean, there's a whole bunch that I should put in trusted status because I do trust them. I just don't do it. I'd rather do it myself. So yes, I get what Jan's on about. We'll see, right? We'll see how this is configured upon a default install, if it's all going to be switched on or not.
I do think that this is going to be very helpful for the vast majority of WordPress users which don't have care plans, or people like us that take care of the websites. This way, at least you don't get hacked. Something might break, but at least you don't get hacked.
Yeah. I'm presuming, as George says down here, he's saying, as far as I know, it will be allowing selective updates. Yeah, judging by the image, it looks like you can enable, disable. So hopefully they'll give us that capability. Well, I'm sure they will. It'd be complete chaos if they didn't, right? The other one is block directory integration. So imagine what you've got at the minute for themes and plugins. You've got the ability to sort of go out and find things. Well, you'll have that built directly into the block editor. So you'll be able to literally search for a block that you're some functionality that you're missing, install it directly from the page or post that you're editing, which is quite nice.
Don't you guys think that this could be a bit messy?
Yeah.
We're already at a stage where 50 plugins can happen easily on a website. Adding to it another layer of every Elementor block will have its own widget, in comparison,
I think my fear is that if you go, I would imagine that anybody that's used WordPress for any length of time has got that kind of, somebody has mentioned at some point, try to not use a plugin for absolutely everything. You know, once you've got over a certain threshold, let's say it's 10 or something, then maybe it's getting a bit heavy. Unless that was in some way exposed in this interface that you've now got, because those blocks, they just look harmless, don't they? You just got a tiny little icon. And it just doesn't really give you an indication that it's doing a great deal. And if you ended up with 50 little icons, like let's say you're using Elementor,
you can easily go for you have 50, 70 icons. Yeah.
And if all you're doing is putting a new block in, anyway, I think you're right, Vito. It could become very messy. We'll have to see how that's curated and whether or not. And then this little baby. Full site editing. They reckon by, what did he say? By the end of 2020, this will be landing, because WordPress, whatever it's going to be, I can't remember the next version, by December would be. Anyway, 2 releases away, 5.6 or whatever it is, will have full site editing in, which will be remarkable, absolutely remarkable. And it changes the landscape quite a lot. I'm sure it'll be fairly slim at the moment when they release it, but nevertheless, there we go, full site editing. Nice. And then there's this thing called blocks area, but I won't go into that because that's, I guess,
blocks area is just going to replace widgets then.
Yeah.
So I imagine that I was thinking about that. There might be a nice, easy way to transition that you can, in any theme, for instance, as a kind of legacy sort of thing, go into the widgets area and press a little cog on any of the widget areas and say, convert this to blocks or something. I don't know. Yeah,
that's the plan, isn't it? I think that's exactly
what it actually says. I didn't read it.
Something along those. I would rather see, no, can't remember, but he did. Oh, here we go. One of the main features that has not gotten near enough attention is the conversion of traditional sidebars into block areas. This is a much needed change. So we'll see how that goes. But
there's one more as well, isn't there? There's the global styles.
That's quite nice. Can't argue with that.
Yeah, that feels like related to the full site editing in a way.
Yeah.
But again, like the tricky thing is that a lot of these sort of updates are fighting things that we've already had for a long time and have got really good ways and really mature ways of doing them. So it feels like sometimes it feels like the framework underneath what we're using is adding bloat to itself. That I'm probably talking from a design agency point of view here. So if I wasn't in that situation, I'd probably would be more happy about this. But to me, I just see it as
but it's kind of like we're following on these updates from Gutenberg. Well, let's the small updates, like these are all very basic stuff compared to the stuff that we're using every day. It kind of feels funny that we're following a product that is so early on, while not even this level of attention, compared to some of the other products that can actually do proper advancement. Instead of just chucking stuff, they are just creating a competition for companies in the space. They're not doing any innovation here.
That's a good point. They're sort of following the lead of notable page builders, shall we say,
and themes as well. If they're thinking of doing away with the theme architecture, is there? I'm totally ignorant about this. Is there a really valid argument that is almost impossible to argue against that says why this has all been done?
There's only one man that knows the answer to that, and he's never been on the live version of this. I should really ask him to come on and explain himself. That'd be quite nice.
But make sure he can't explain himself in a way that forgets that all this stuff already exists.
Well, I suppose
it would be great if you could edit the whole site. You could change the global styles and add a gradient.
It would be amazing if
wouldn't it be amazing?
Create like the next Microsoft Word. That would be a huge innovation.
Oh dear!
That's it. I'm waiting for the little paperclip to come into Gutenberg version 8.
Maybe we are all just not smart enough to see it.
I think, to be fair, I think, it's an open source project. 80% of the people who probably use it, maybe even higher, have no idea that there's a thing called a page builder. They just log in,
Yeah.
write a post, click publish, and then have no idea how the sidebar got there. They just there it is. You know,
how are these changes actually impacting WordPress.com? That's what I find interesting.
Yeah, I've never
because
really looked at
maybe for investors, WordPress.com really is a good platform that they need to work on.
Yeah, but I think it enables those people, those people who've got no skin in the game of WordPress itself. They're just using it as a platform to actually do things which at the moment are utterly beyond what they wish to be able to do. So, you know, if you want,
that's true, but these are not like it's not us. Like we're the ones following this. But I'm just realizing, like, after months of us moving through this thing.
Who's it for? Who is it for? Right.
Well, Jan raises an interesting point. He's raising a conspiracy theory in a way that all of this is for WordPress.com to be a better competitor to Wix.
Maybe,
And it could be. It could be. You know, that would Automatic have got the ability to do it.
That would make a lot of sense, actually.
They could justify why it's a good idea, and they could say that you can fork WordPress at any point you want, and it's fine. So I don't know, because I've thought that as well a number of times, and it could be wrong. It's just everyone likes a conspiracy theory while we're all locked down.
Well, George,
maybe we need to start playing around with this. Sorry. Maybe we need to start playing around with WordPress.com to see what's going on right there.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that. George makes the point that the word wink there should have been Wix, because he amended that later, but trying to become more Wix-like, maybe. Yeah, I think that's true. I think they've got to take on Squarespace and Wix. I think that was the whole point of modifying the interface, because honestly, the Squarespace interface is so nice. It's so intuitive. Everything is just click. Ooh, it works. You know, nothing backwards.
But then remember, what's going to happen is the futuristic version of everything they're doing here is Elementor's most likely SaaS platform built on WordPress, with an amazing user interface and all the things that you could ever want.
Without WordPress,
without all the
with a no knowledge. We got something here. Where's it gone? A thing about, I think it was, I've lost it. There's quite a lot of comments coming today. Anyway, I can't remember who it was. Somebody put a comment about that they're definitely not going to switch the automatic update on. I think it was Chris Hughes. Yeah, there you go. Disable, huge disable for me. Even official Woo extensions, of course, errors. Yeah, like I say, nice feature to have, but I've never, ever, ever I will not make use of it. I'll go and update everything manually and sit around and just see if it's broken or not. Okay, doke. Anyway, brilliant article, and it does give you some insight into what is coming. So go and check that one out. Click on basically, if you go here, everything that we're linking to is in these notes, so you can just click on it over here. The next one is this one, State of the Meetup under lockdown. To be honest with you, if it's all right with you guys, I'm probably just going to shuffle through this one, because it's a bit like what we said earlier about Zoom meetings and things. It's getting harder than ever to sort of be inspired by online meetings. It was quite a fun thing to do a little while ago. Now it's like, really? Another one? So here we go. Speaking of Elementor, let me put the screen up. Elementor, check it out. The reason I've mentioned this is quite a quirky competition that TalkMag runs every year. Am I right in saying this? Maybe one of you knows. Don't they pit plugins against each other somewhat arbitrarily?
Very much so.
And then you have to just pick let's binary. You get a choice on the screen of A or B, and you pick one, and then somehow their algorithm works out who goes through to the next round.
It's like a tournament plugin, you know. Right. So basically, you have all the stuff there. It starts properly categorized, but right after the first step, it becomes, like a Yoast competing with Elementor.
Right. So two completely unrelated plugins could be pitted against each other in this bizarre contest that Talk run every year, but it's really popular. And I just thought this was worth mentioning, because Elementor, as we know, developing everything at a ridiculously fast pace, and they've won. They won this competition. So more people clicked the Elementor option, given 2 options, than anything else ultimately, and they've done it for the 2nd year in a row. So kudos to them. Do you know, I was wondering. I know that Vito, you mentioned a couple of weeks ago that when the whole COVID lockdown thing happened, the business for you had to pivot very quickly. You changed the mode of, being really into sales to sort of like just shoring things up. I wonder with plugins like Elementor, I wonder if that's the same thing or if it's business as usual. I just wonder if with the vast number of installs that they've got.
It's mostly the same.
Really.
The difference from what my research kind of found there is that it's kind of based on your business model and where your tool is positioned in the space. So the ones that are on yearly, they're there, like they don't do much. So Elementor is all yearly, you can't do much about it. But subscriptions that are going monthly, that's something that you are more flexible, and it puts more pressure on the product because they need to deliver every month, instead of like once a year. But it's a nicer model in my opinion. I think it's nicer for the client and for the company, and that's what actually hit us the most. The yearly are fun.
Well, just out of interest, if so, I don't know quite why, but really recently, like in the last couple of weeks, I've had quite a lot of subscriptions renew for WordPress products. Sure. And I don't know why that is, but it would appear that at some point many years ago, whenever it was, April was a moment that I bought a lot of stuff. Probably I bet it's to do with the start of the financial year and things like that. Right. In the UK, which has just happened a few weeks ago, and not once did I think, should I renew that? I just didn't think about it. I just renewed it. I just let it all happen in its automated way. So I got the "you're about to renew" thing, and I just ignored it, just put it in the bin. And I wonder if at this point people are being a bit more circumspect and
not now. A few weeks ago, yes, because everyone was in like their own survival mode and trying to keep to themselves. I cut like £500 worth of subscriptions. Okay, just like it's the axe method. It's not like the what's it called, where you pluck something out.
Oh well, the plucking.
So it's not that. It's like you axe it off. You just chop off everything, and then you just organize around that. That's what you need to do when you're in survival mode. But now certainty is coming back a little bit. At least that's how it feels, or at least people are getting used to this is the new norm, and so everything is going back to normal slowly. Yeah,
I feel that like the panic moment has sort of passed a little bit, and everything does seem to be becoming a little bit more normal. And I just wondered, but I did think that the annual subscription, I did. Now that I think about it, thinking about the Elementor pricing page, it is only annual, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think you'll shift and encourage more people to go annual with what's happened?
Me, I'm gonna stick to monthly because it just serves a different business, a different goal that I have.
Yeah.
But for plugin makers doing like a side business kind of thing, go for the yearly. That's much better.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Okay, so there it was, Elementor winning TalkMag's plugin madness of 2020.
I've taken a look through that, by the way, and there's some interesting highlights as such in there as well, which if you look through, because it is a kind of World Wrestling WWE sort of competition. It doesn't really make any sense, a lot of the ones that are pitted against each other, but it was actually really interesting going through. Like in round one, Elementor beat WordFence, so straight away WordFence, a massive plugin, was knocked out by Elementor. And then WPMU plugins did extremely well, but they had 4 plugins.
Well, they've won it a few times with Smush, I think.
Yeah, well, Smush went out early, but actually the SEO plugin that they've got, that from what I know nobody uses, called WPMU Smart Crawl, did way better than Rank Math and way better than Yoast, which both got knocked out early on. And but the weird thing was that Yoast was in the marketing category, and Rank Math and WPMU Smart Crawl were in the optimization category.
Interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah. I doubt there's any value in trying to fix this as a competition. I think it's just so funny because it is so random that this is the kind of bizarre thing that happens.
Do you know, it's lovely the way you've just been describing it, where you talk about knocking out. It suddenly feels like a boxing fight.
It does, it does.
Somebody got knocked out in the first round, a big heavy hit to the head, face or something like that. Yeah, that's really interesting.
But we also had the YARP plugin, yet another related post plugin, I think it's called, which is and seeing as this website is Dopey Engine, they banned that plugin from their own system. You're not even allowed to use that one because it uses a lot of in theory it uses a lot of CPU.
A lot of queries, I think.
But custom post type UI did extremely well. I think they were the last one to fight against.
The last one against Elementor.
Elementor. Nice, isn't it? Because that's a really, is that who make that one? Is it Web Dev Studios, mate?
I don't know, actually. Yeah,
I think it's Web Dev Studios. I could be wrong about that. Anyway, the point is, it's a plugin which gets talked about far less, and it managed to get into the final. And got knocked out, as you say.
But if you want a conspiracy theory, then chuck it GoPMU in there, because they had 4 plugins in the mix. Their SEO plugin did way better than Rank Math and Yoast. And they probably fared the best against Elementor of any of the plugins, with GoPMU Defender getting a pretty respectable 34% of the vote against 66% of Elementor.
Right.
So that would be, I don't know, man, if you want a conspiracy theory.
It depends. I suppose we don't know how many people vote on these kind of things, but it is hysterical.
I think it's how you get, I think if you've got enough people to get you in the competition, then you're going to get some headlines. And so if I wonder how you get into the competition, because there's some good plugins there I'd never heard of, like ACF Better Search, which looked like a decent plugin.
Ooh, yeah.
That makes the WordPress search for all the different custom fields or something like that.
That is nice. I've never heard of that either.
Yeah, there was some good little finds in there, but then there was some ones that looked like they'd probably been abandoned for 5 years.
Do you know what we should do? Next year, the 4 of us should get together and write a plugin which is just called Does Nothing. And it's a plugin which does nothing at all except appears in the plugin area. That's all it does. And then just win it.
That's amazing. It's like when they did with Rage Against the Machine and the Christmas song.
Yes, they got that into #1 at Christmas. All the kids. Why can't we listen to it, Daddy? Well, you just can't. It's not for you. That's great. Okay, so Matt Davis, they should get the actual plugin developers to battle. Oh yes, I think they should play Kaplunk to see which is the best. Do you know Kaplunk, where you put the marbles in at the top and all the sticks, and you just pull out one? That should be decided by that. Okay, there we go. Now we know. Vito, I didn't read the second bit. Vito versus Entree in a charity boxing match.
Yeah, for COVID relief.
Vito, are you like a Krav Maga expert by any chance?
Not an expert, but I know a little bit.
Who knows a little bit? Okay, let's go back to this. What have we got? Oh, crikey! I'm on the wrong screen. There we go. Move that out of the way. Now, this is interesting. This next one, the next section that we've got, is all about plugins, themes, and blocks. Here we are. And this first one came to my attention because of this quote, this tweet from this fellow over here, who I just can't quite get to grips with who he is, because he's not wearing a hat.
He looks like a model.
Yeah, he really does, like a model of a bad evening out or something like that. Yeah. Sorry, Paul, I really should be less acerbic. But this was a nice little catch. Thank you for that. It's great because it linked back to this GitHub page, and I think there's now been a few posts properly written by various other people. So this is called Leave It at the Door for WooCommerce. Such a simple idea, but so cool. Essentially, it adds a tech checkbox next to I don't know where in the process, but at the cart, right near the finish of the cart, you get to tick a box which is exposed, which says leave it at the door. And if you tick the box, then, I mean, you've probably done this with Amazon or all sorts of other things. You get to say where you'd like it leaving. So if you've ordered a pair of shoes through a WooCommerce shop, you tick the box, say, leave it around the back near the garage, blah, blah, blah. And then it exposes that on the information that the shop owner gets, which I just think is dead cool. How did this not exist? Where did you pick that one up from, Paul? Was it that thread there, whoever Scott Deluzio is?
I don't know how I came across that one.
He created it, this thing.
Yeah, I'm guessing it was him. That
Yeah,
created.
so I must have seen it, someone else mentioning it, and I just thought,
Yeah, it's his. Look, there we go. Yeah, it's his plugin. Very nice though. Really nice little thing that kind of obviously at the moment really ought to be in core. One would have thought, because if you're delivering anything, nobody wants to take it out of your hands anymore.
The feature exists on those food delivery services, so like Just Eat and Deliveroo, and if you order a takeaway at the moment and have it delivered, this is even before. Like in the UK, that's just the normal thing now. It's left at the door, and someone knocks the door and then walks off. Yeah. But
I think they've developed
that. They started introducing it.
I think all of the postmen and postwomen where I live have been taking how to knock really hard on the door lessons, because they've gone from sort of like, you know, occasionally they'd press the bell or knock gently, and if you had a pair of headphones on, you'd come downstairs and you'd see the dreaded red note that you get from the post office in the UK, which basically means you weren't paying attention. We've taken the box away. You're naughty. We'll bring it back maybe tomorrow if you're lucky. Whereas now, it's like they're smacking on the door really hard so that you can't possibly miss it. We were downstairs the other day and it actually scared one of my children. It was terrifyingly loud. Anyway, there you go. That's what this plugin is for. So nice catch, Paul. Thank you for that. The next one, Toolset. I know Vito's, well, I don't know if you still are, but you were a heavy user of this. This is just, still using it. Yeah. Toolset blocks 1.2 beta, offering image galleries, masonry, and more. And it is exactly what you'd expect. There it is. If you install Toolset, you get these orange, kind of like the way they've done this, actually. These little orange versions of everything. There's a tiny little bit of orange in everything. Even the countdown just got a tiny little bit of orange, and it makes you think, okay, that's a Toolset block. And you've got tons of options for making nice galleries. So it's being tested at the moment. They've got a slider with flexible, well, they're describing it as a flexible image slider with loads of options. But the reason I mentioned it, I don't know if you've seen this guy. He's now the guy that's making some of the videos about, we announced it on this podcast. Well, not announced, we mentioned it. It wasn't like we were the people to announce it, that they were looking for people to do videos for them and make some materials. Anyway, this guy, whose name I've forgotten, I apologize, he made a video. It's really good. Like he's a keeper. It's so well explained. He's the kind of guy that obsesses about the details. So I think you'll be hearing a lot more.
That was a job that they advertised fairly recently.
Exactly.
They were looking for someone to create videos. Yeah, someone that was right. They needed a very quick turnaround for the videos and stuff. So
well, he's the man.
Well done to him for getting that job. I've got to say that every time there's a news piece on Toolset, I just think, wow, that's just getting better and better all the time. Yeah. You know, it just had this hiatus of anything good going on for it for such a long time, and it's really grasped this whole Gutenberg thing.
Yeah, they got inspired by it big time.
Yeah.
So here's the $10 million question, though, Paul. Given like, let's say I come to you as a site owner and I say, I don't want any fancy, I don't want to pay a license for a page, I don't want a page builder. I've heard about this Gutenberg thing, but I want some extra fields. Are you going to use Toolset, or are you going to still go with something like Advanced Custom Fields? Does this make you feel more inspired?
Where I would switch to Toolset, right, is if COVID-19, like this is a serious answer. So I was just thinking about it in my mind of what the scenario might be where I'd be using Toolset again. And if my small company of 3 people was completely decimated by COVID-19, we all had to start again as freelancers, basically, then Toolset would be a power tool for an individual. Sure. You know, it's the kind of thing that, let's say I came back as a freelancer, I'd be re-looking at all the tools that I was using and say, do you know what? I can deliver some serious power with Toolset without having to sharpen up all my code skills that were a little bit rusty, since I do a lot more project management these days. So it's a powerful tool. Yeah.
Yeah. The best thing for them on the horizon, I think, at the moment is the fact that it's all in this one interface. It was quite difficult to get your head around the go save, copy and paste a code, go and stick it somewhere on a page, refresh that page, then go back because it didn't work, go and look at, find the meta box that you needed to update something, which was awfully tricky. And now it's all done by point, click, drag. Everything's so much more simple.
Yeah,
I still use it. Like I still because I didn't really adopt Gutenberg. So when I am using toolset, I'm still using like the the raw HTML stuff. I like it. I like to write the HTML, to write the CSS. So that's if I'm already doing something with that. It's like a block. It's not a page, so you can do really nice stuff if you custom design it. So like I haven't found the use case of Gutenberg because I'm not using it. In Elementor, I have a toolset widget anyway, so I just choose it from there, but I use the other interface.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's great. I think it's really nice. I've been chatting with a little bit on email with Amir, and I think it's wonderful. I think you've found some new mojo, which is great.
Roby Lawrence. There's someone in the comments called Roby Lawrence.
Roby Lawrence.
Yeah, never heard of him.
No,
I think he's a hacker. Don't click the link that he's pasted there. It will just steal all the money out of your bank. So whatever you do, don't click that link.
I'm not even going to do it.
Don't trust whoever he is. Never heard of him.
Not to be trusted. Those people that live in the southern hemisphere. Good gracious.
Yeah.
What have we got here, though? Yeah, look at this. This is about knocking the door. It's like the SWAT raid. It really is. Honestly, they must issue them with a great big Gandalf type stuff. None shall pass, which is ridiculous. But there you go. That's the way it goes. What else have we got? Jan, you got yourself a Ring doorbell, did you, to check it out?
Yeah.
Did you get that before, or?
Yeah, we have it like 1.5 years.
Nice. And
it connects to our Alexa Echoes.
Yeah, and it just pipes up and says there's somebody at the door, or you just get the bing bong.
We have a movement sensor in that tracks movement directly when somebody enters the property, and then they have to walk like 7 meters or something like that to go to our front door, which usually is enough to notify us, and then we pop it up on the Echo or on the phone or whatever.
And have you ever actually deployed it in the way that obviously it's touted as this thing where you could be out at a pizza restaurant and you could actually...
Yeah, I was doing groceries one time, and then the postman came here. And the face was priceless. Yeah. Because she had no idea who was talking to her.
Yeah. And you were in a completely different country. Just leave him there, please. That's great. That's really interesting. Oh, okay, here we go. That's it. The toolset guy is Evan Seplow. He's a cinematographer by trade. No kidding.
Nice.
Thanks, Peter. That's really good to know. It felt like he was a pro. So yeah, no kidding. That's good to know. What have we got here? Those guys are great, Jan, but I've seen a few of them take a while to connect. Oh, okay. Delivery thing. I'm not going to click on that link. Is that it? Yes, I think
you can click it if you want.
Oh, I'm not. Well, it won't make any difference. I can't actually click those links. Anyway, let's get back to what we're here for, which is this thing.
It's a good one, though.
Is it? Oh,
It is a good one.
Hang on. How am I going to do this? Okay, wait. I don't think I can do it.
You can cut and paste it into a browser tab.
I can't.
You need to bring it up.
Hide and then try to get hold of that. I can't. It's just an image on my screen. My UI is a bit different. Anyway, I'll come back to it. Maybe somebody can share that with us a little bit later. Oh, somebody stick it in the private chat. Okay. All right. But that's truncated as well. Let me try. That's not going to work. It is going to work.
That's a lemon.
Oh, was it one of those challenges?
Yeah, it was ages ago.
Oh, yeah. You really haven't changed your outfit at all, have you?
That was a different t-shirt.
Exactly the same. I mean, look at it.
Yeah.
Less
different cap.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we should do to spice up this WP, but we should all bring some sort of tangy citrus fruit, and halfway through we all have a go and see if we can get through the rest of the show. That'd be quite priceless. Right,
does it count that I have some in my water?
That counts.
Yeah. Mine's completely glass empty, not even half
the
full.
same glass.
That's weird. See the direction completely random directions we go off in. This is great. Okay.
Anyone new tuning in right now is just like, what is this?
Yeah, what's this about? Well, sometimes I think the best episodes are when you go off and totally random ways like that. There's another one dropped in. So, right, this is basically going to become the Giphy live.
Roby's
podcast.
very good at GIFs, though. He's
okay.
these things.
Okay. I'm going to take it back to WordPress a little bit. I thought this was quite nice. Stackables blocks. They got this new one called Advanced Columns and Grid Block. Basically, if you're trying to in any way, don't you think that's really nice? Did you see that? Don't you think the way that they've done that's really clever? I've not seen that done before. With like two little things that you can drag to, and it's what you're actually dragging is the spacer, not the actual width of the block. You're dragging where the space goes. And I just think that's really cool. I like that. Anyway, basically, it's a plugin where you can do every conceivable type of column, and I really liked it. So I thought I'd mention it. Look at this. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Very nice. And last, automate. I don't know how to pronounce that. Automate woo, something. Yeah, go and check it out. I'm not going to mention anything about that. What I am going to mention, though, is tons of deals. This is the page that we've got where we have our searchable filter. No, it isn't. I've picked the wrong one. This is the one. This is our searchable, filterable list of deals. These are always on. Oh, look at that tool set right at the top. That's cool. You can scroll through this list and it's just a permanent set of deals. So if you want, look at that. Oh, look, by pure coincidence, because it is a rand function. Look, it's the fight. It's the fight.
We are on top.
Yeah. Nicely spotted. You can just basically go and get a load of deals on that page. Plus, thought I'd mention these ones. This is an AppSumo one for cleaning up email lists. Can't say whether I've checked it out or not. This one seems to be popular at the moment. This is one where you get a ton of free images. This seems to be dead popular. Loads of people seem to be buying this one. What else we got? Cloud image is a bit like, what's it called? What are the rivals? Short Pixel and so on.
WP Compress.
Yeah, all of those kind of things. Anyway, there's a load of deals for products. Most of these are on AppSumo, so you can go and check them out. Conscious that we're sort of running out of time, so very quickly, there's a plugin update on vulnerabilities in widget settings importer-exporter plugin, the Accordion plugin, and then the other ones down here are, this is a WPMU dev link to what a WAF is. They explain it. They've obviously got their product, which they're pitching in there as well, but it's quite a nice article about that. I'm sure Jan could steer us in the right direction as to whether it's accurate or not. DDoS.
I would have read it, yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go, yeah. DDoS explained. This was an article on the TalkMag website again. And that's it. We did a podcast this week with, like I said, Jason Resnick. Mentioned that at the top of the show, so I won't dwell on that. But I will mention this. I think this is dead cool and really interesting. This is nothing to do with WordPress. Google and Apple, when do they ever get together and decide to collaborate on something? It just shows, doesn't it, what times we're in. They've decided to launch this plugin whereby it will, so the process is fairly complicated. You have Bluetooth switched on, you wander around with your phone on in your pocket, it makes connections with other phones that come into its sphere of influence. So let's say that I walk next to Paul Lacey, it notices that Paul Lacey's phone also is switched on and has got this app installed. It makes a connection, but it doesn't know what Paul Lacey, who he is. There's just some sort of token which is exchanged. Then if Paul Lacey at some point in the future identifies himself as having COVID, it identifies everybody in that little database which is stored on the phone who you've come into contact with. Maybe you should start self-isolating. It's really interesting. So they've gone for the approach of keeping the data locked down. It's completely anonymized. It's interesting because it works. Hopefully it'll come out fairly soon. But the UK government have said, no, we want the data. We want to know who these people are, because it's all very well it being anonymized, but could you please build it such that we know who they are, because then we can get in touch with them and, you know, and their relatives and their everybody else. So it's an interesting discussion.
Yeah, it's actually something that I see some governments are doing. In Israel, they've done that exactly.
Yeah.
So you can so they can see where you've been. If you tested positive, they take your phone and they see where you've been, and then they send text messages to everyone that's been there through satellite kind of identification. Though, so they are doing this already actively. It's got a lot of bad kind of like Big Brother kind of vibes to it. People don't like. But it's kind of a crisis time. What it would be interesting to see if you would have like one Corona guy, if we can call it like that, inside like a stadium, so you have like thousands of people around them, and all the phones are starting to beep, creating like massive panic.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, especially if it had some sort of unique ringtone, or
so everyone's starting to freak out.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Did you see that graph? It was many weeks ago where I'm sure it was Android, or should I say Google, where they overlaid on a Google map there was a beach party in Florida where somebody was infected. And they just created a map in real time of how the people who were on the beach at that exact moment in time spread out across the USA.
Interesting.
And it didn't show, obviously there was no sort of like contagion from those people, but it was amazing. Just that little gathering of a handful of people on the beach basically went and touched every part of the United States within like 48 hours.
Crazy.
And I can see why Google and Apple don't want to get into trouble from the privacy point of view, but I can also see why a government might wish to know where everybody has been and be able to contact them. So it's a difficult one to. Maybe Google open sources it, Apple open sources it, and then those individual governments can hack the code and maybe persuade us to download it. Apparently,
they can do it anyway. Regardless.
Yeah, well, exactly. But apparently, you need something like 80% of the population to deploy the app for it to actually be super effective. So it's maybe a bit of a dead in the water idea, anyway. Yes, I can't see that being the case. Anybody else on that one?
Maybe they should add, in time of crisis like this. This does require adding something like this to the core of the update.
I think privacy will never be the same again after this. I think some things have definitely changed. I wonder if in some countries there's some interesting legislation which has changed, which might get missed when it's all sort of calmed down a little bit. I don't know. Speaking of Google got ticked off this week because the French have decided that now they've got to pay publishers. So, you've been there, you're searching for a bit of news. Oh, come on. And come on. And you just go to Google, and Google scrape the web page and publish it. And maybe that's enough for you to realize you don't want to go to that particular publication. So it might be some Le Monde or something. You read the headline and realize it's not for you. And I think Le Monde's like, oh, come on. How many of these blooming things? These publishers are sort of saying, well, you know what? That's not for you. They should be coming to our website anyway, reading our content, deciding for themselves. So the French government, in what can only be described as a very French move, because they're very up on all this kind of stuff, aren't they? They've made Google pay. So if Google wants to put their content from these publications on the SERP's results, then they've got to pay. And so what did Google do? They just removed them all. Just not paying you anything. So they remove them all. So that's what this is about. It's about the French government saying, no, you can't just remove them all. That's just ridiculous. Because of course the French publications lose out because Google's no longer serving them up. So it's a bit of a no-win situation. Very weird.
So which organizations is Google not serving then?
It was just French. It doesn't actually say. It just says here, French news organizations. It doesn't really go into any particular detail. So I'm imagining it's newspapers, online news organizations, and so on. I imagine it's things like the BBC and the Guardian in the UK, that sort of equivalent. But yeah, the publications forced the issue. Google withdrew their stuff from the SERPs. Obviously, they took a hit, so they're now getting the French government to force Google to pay some money, which is interesting.
Isn't it interesting that a government is trying to enforce a company to behave their way?
Yeah,
like
it is.
Where's the freedom of the company to do what they think is right?
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? It's a real real dichotomy between state and company. And it almost feels to me in some ways like some of these companies are states. They're so big.
True.
You know, Google itself is almost has the power of a nation. I mean, obviously it doesn't have the military and all of that kind of stuff, or the power to put healthcare in, but some of these companies have that capacity. And so it's interesting that you've got that position, Jan. You've taken the position that how dare a government within its own borders interfere with an American tech giant.
Well, it's a difficult balance that you need to strike.
Really.
And I think it was a valid concern for the government to force Google to pay if they use the contents and then cause harm because of that, because Google actively is doing something. But if Google is reverting all of that and just having the same search results for the news pages compared to all the other pages, where's the reason for the government to enforce Google to bring back those excerpts or whatever they have taken down?
Yeah, it is really bizarre.
But Nathan, you're saying it's not just the excerpt; they took off the listing.
Yeah, so let me just try and sort of paraphrase.
So you don't get the traffic.
Yeah, I'm working off memory.
Okay, I thought they just took off the excerpts from those
that would
pages.
be fine.
So here we go.
Because then you'd have like, when you haven't got a meta description and you're blocking the metas, when you can actually find something in Google and it's like, this doesn't have a meta description and stuff.
So it says here, Google unilaterally decided that it would no longer display article extracts, photographs and videos within its various services unless the publishers give it to them free of charge. And so basically that's been overturned. The major defeat for Google. This is a major loss for Google because it appears to create a precedent for Google having to pay publishers for the right to use snippets, titles, and images. And do you know what? I mean, it would be sort of somewhat galling if people were not, if you could prove that people weren't coming to your publications just because you got the snippet wrong. It wasn't quite clickbaity enough or what have you. Difficult, really difficult.
Which would be your fault in the first place because you are the one writing the snippet.
Yeah, it's a good point. Anyway, I'm not about to take on the might of Google. Dare I have riled Google or indeed the French government? Can we just say, I love the French government and I love Google. I love you all. Please don't sue me. What have we got in the comments? I bet, Nate, I'm going to basically turn into a deals broker, Matt. That is the plan for the WP Builds podcast. It's just more ads. What else have we got? Nothing really. Number of cheese has gone down this week. There's less cheese this week. That's all I got. Anybody else got anything they want to throw in?
We have a summit coming up in 1 week.
Tell us about the summit.
Yes, we're super excited. Jan, do you want to tell a little bit? Should I?
Oh man, do you want to go on the networking area and I just give a little rundown of who we have as speakers?
Do you want to share your screen? Share the screen.
I can give you a bit of a sneak preview into how it looks inside. No one's seen that.
It's very cool what you've done.
It's
actually.
very
cool. Nice. I think you've set a new standard.
It's I'm actually like looking forward to a kind of hallway track on a online summit, which I've never really fussed about before, really, because I didn't think anyone else would be really invested in the hallway track online either. So
it's a missed opportunity, isn't it? Because it's sometimes the best bit.
That is the best bit.
I can't see anybody that shared a screen. Oh, there we go. Let me just pop that
I can share my screen.
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
Yeah, so just the last summit in 2019 was great already and was exceeding my expectations, but just look at how many sponsors and what types of companies we have supporting this event, which is insane. And it's just showing, I think, that it's the right move to take these virtual conferences more seriously, given the times we are in.
Yeah.
And just look at the speakers. So we have Adam, the session with Ronald was really good. We have 4.5 ways to scale up an e-commerce store, which is the halfway is really interesting. And then we have the usual suspects. Oliver usually talks about security, and he's always there in these events because he's such a he's really good at breaking down technical stuff so that everybody understands it.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. Alison is sharing how she's managing care plans in these times and how she's building up a company that sells care plans, manages the team and stuff like that. Similar to what Christina is also talking about. So Christina actually got up at 6 a.m. to do the recording with me. Highly appreciate that. And by 6 a.m. we actually were recording, so she got up a bit earlier, I guess.
Nice. Good on Christina.
Yeah, and she's a powerhouse when it comes to managing her agency, and she has the processes so nailed. She's so good with managing a team and taking care of the clients and just juggling all these parts that she has. I think she has 4 children who are at home now and who she has to homeschool. So maybe Nathan, you should reach out to Christina and just get a chat on how to manage time. She's really
I really need to learn how to manage time at the minute.
And then Bob was amazing when it comes to using WordPress as a base for a podcast. He really dove deep into that, which is, I mean, he's predestined to talk about that.
Yeah.
Mr. Paul Lacey. Paul, sorry, I didn't update that yet.
Yeah, sorry, Nathan, that's changing.
That's all on me, Nathan.
Oh, I see.
Handsome. Handsome guy,
I thought Paul is kind of inventory here. So.
Oh, that's lovely. Paul Lacey from WP Bells. You can keep it like that if you like.
I told you I'm assistant regional manager.
And it's all in capitals as well. Even better.
and Paul's session isn't really special, other that he choked on a mint and had dust in his eyes all the time. So we had a really deep conversation, and that was by far one of the most emotional sessions I've done so far.
Oh.
And then I cannot
loads.
I cannot dive more into those speakers, but it's
don't miss Rajendra Zore's talk as well from RunCloud.
Oh,
he's got a good story.
Oh yes, and I dove deep. I really grilled him on that story. That's interesting. But Vito, do you want to take over and show us a look behind the scenes now?
Yeah, let's do it. So I'll click share and share screen.
Share screen.
Let me know when you can see it.
Yeah, it should come now.
Awesome. Yep. So we're inside, and that's basically the home of the event. As you can see, we try to create that experience that actually tries to simulate, like going to there. That's what I want us to kind of look into and look at this summit as something. Like when we go to WordCamp, we make a day out of it, or we even make a weekend out of it, and just engage fully with the experience there. So everything here is designed to kind of help us do that. Let's start with the basics. We have the live session. So Jan spoke about all the speakers in here. So we're going to have the talks running here. The cool thing is that, or the innovation that we're doing on this section is that we're bringing in the talks 4 times a day. 5 times a day to serve different time zones. So basically, there will be
idea. Yeah.
They will have 4 hours of the straight talks, and then from there it's just the 5th hour is a hangout hour, and the whole thing, the 5-hour cycle repeats 4 times every single day. While you can of course go down here and watch some of the talks beforehand as well from the rest of the day
with live comments for each talk.
With live comments right here. Okay. That was a kind of a challenge to do live comments in WordPress. Right, let's move on to the lounge. So this is where the magic really happens. I hope it's gonna allow this because we're in a video call now. So let's see what's up. Nice. So I'm in the lounge. So there's no need to go out. Zoom calls that expire and all of this kind of stuff. Just come into here. This will be open 24 hours, 24/4, because there's 4 days of the event. And this call will have loads of people on it, just led by a host. So what we're doing is we're basically giving people the option to take over this session for an hour. So you host it for an hour and steer the conversation in how you want to steer that, because there might be a few hundred people on this call at any given moment. Now, the whole cool thing about networking, or what I love most about going to these events, is that you can actually go to a corner and have a proper conversation with someone. And that will not be able to, no one can do that in the current state of online summits where you have just like one call that you have like dozens and dozens or sometimes hundreds of people all logged into that single call. So what we did is we created different environments right here below that you can go and sit by the fire. Let's go and sit by the fire with Paul, for example. And that's basically, oh, did I click it? Yes, I did click it. And inside there's like video calls like what you saw in there, but it's just like, spread out a little thinner, so it distributes the clusters, and you can have like proper conversations, proper relationships with the different people. If this is too crowded, no problem. Let's go sit by the window. Very much like you do at a real summit. You choose where you go and you cluster there. Right. Then we have the exhibition hall. So
nice idea.
One of the awesome stuff about conferences is getting free crap from sponsors, right? But also the actual ability to meet them in person and try to learn about the different people that run the different products. So each sponsor has a proper booth in here. And we're still designing some of them, but you can see like it's starting to come in and everyone is being really creative about this. I'm just going to go to ours so I don't expose any of the other sponsors' kind of hidden plans in there. But here again, I'm inside my own booth, and I can tell you, I have my Wapoo right here, so you can do a little list of the Wapoo, or you can spin the wheel. Let's spin the wheel here. And win some.
Okay. Now, I like the way you made it look like a booth as well. You got it all sort of folding in on the sides. Yeah. It's clever, really nice.
So the whole thing kind of runs here, and then let's see what I'll get. Okay, I got some discount. This is not real, not yet. But that's basically the experience. And every sponsor has their own booth where you can come in and just hang out with them, learn about the products, talk about some problems that you have with their products. They are here for you very much like they would in a booth. They're literally inside the booth sitting there. And next up we have the media room. So
can you chat to the people in the booth? Like, is it?
Yeah, of course. It's a live call.
It's like standing video calls, and then if the sponsors decide to not man the booth overnight, maybe then they have a book a call link in there that they can switch on and off as they are manning the booth.
Nice.
Yeah. So basically, I try to create that same experience that you go to the booth and you say, so what are you guys doing here? What's going on here? And the guy starts.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what we can expect there. And
then you get to the end of the conversation, you're like, great. Is it okay if I have that T-shirt?
Yeah, exactly. Can I try the spinning wheel there?
Yeah.
Bye, thank you.
So there's loads of really awesome stuff that the sponsors are giving away there. Some are talking about iPads and iPhone and MacBooks and stuff like that. So please come on in and just experience that. That should be awesome. And then, of course, we have some our media partners that help us promote the event. There's a few more. Bob is joining now into here, and we're going to collect a few more other guys here. But inside each one of this, you can actually get familiar with the different publications in the space, and even contribute to the publication. So, for example, Hero Press are always looking for interesting stories from people within the community.
Great.
So you can actually do that through this kind of platform here. And and then
it's shaped like the Star Wars.
I was just
The inspiration is not a newspaper; it came from Star Wars.
It's not yellow enough.
And that's pretty much it. There's a few other stuff here.
Really clever. I love that you've really thought so hard about all the details of mimicking as best as you can.
I got my 70% coupon.
What is the access for life? Is it
so? As a revenue stream for us, and as a way for everyone to support the summit, we're actually selling access after the event to all of the talks. It's we're talking literally 20 solid hours of expert advice and Paul's talk as well.
Nice. Oh yes, so well done. Beautifully set the groundwork.
So this is a great way for everyone to support us, so we can do more of this kind of stuff in the future. And of course, Paul's talk is going to be the first one that will pop open in there as well. So this is just a great way for people to support what we're doing.
Drop the URL. Just say the URL out loud so that we all know.
wpfeedback.co. So I'm not going to give you this one, but wpfeedback.co/summit.
Great. So
and
wpfeedback.co/summit if you want to get involved with that. And dates, give us the dates again.
Literally starting on Monday for the rest of the week. So we're just 1 week away.
Really nice.
Have you got a schedule yet for the...
We just got the schedule today. It's not designed yet, but we're going to populate this shortly. Yeah.
Oh, what a good job.
I'm not first, am I? No,
you're not first. No, I was kidding.
Oh, okay.
Because I gave you this little, because I was making fun with
yeah. Smooth it over. Everything's fine. Nothing to see here. There you go. wpfeedback.co/summit, as Jan says. That's great. I'll let you answer the other questions that you can see in the comments yourself another time. Very nice indeed. Thank you very much. That is so cool. Amazingly well thought through. Oh yeah, Ronald was right on the top row. Did you notice that? It was right up there next to Adam Warner. Really, really great. Thank you for joining us again. Really appreciate you making the effort to come. Sorry, we've overrun as is normally the case. And yeah, just slightly. Sorry. So we'll be back next week doing exactly the same thing, only with some, different news and maybe some different people. I can't remember who's on next week, but unless anybody's got anything else to say, I'm going to end it. Anybody got anything they want to say or no? Should we just knock it on the head? Right, I'm going to mute your microphones, but stick around, guys. I'll speak to you all in a second.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.